fine.
Hello and welcome back to the LFC transfer room for our post-match reaction of the Liverpool vs Aston Villa game. Liverpool won 2-1 thanks to goals from Sadio Mane and Joel Matip. Joined by three lovely fellas here, Louis, Owen, Arnov. Louis, I'll start with you. Bit of a nervy game considering the circumstances, but we got through it, don't we?
Yeah, far from a vintage Liverpool performance at all. And I was saying, we'll talk about it in the days to come, but we can't play like that on Saturday in the FA Cup final. It felt, for large parts of that game, it felt like our season was just starting to unravel a little bit. And I know that's a really panicky statement to make, but the way that how lackluster we were against Tottenham, and then coming into this game, giving up a goal so easily and just looking so shaky and nervous at the back, it kind of put everybody on edge a little bit. But again, we've done what we've done so many times this season and in the past, and just get over the line when we needed to. So, we've got to take the positives at that point. And at this point of the season, a performance doesn't necessarily matter that much. It would have been nicer to close up the goal difference a little bit, because I feel like Man City are just starting to get away in that front. But apart from that, yeah, we got over the line, and 3 points is all we could really ask for.
Yeah, Owen, it was as Louis just said there, 3 points, but the goal difference might come huge to the end of the season, might it?
Yeah, unfortunately it could do, and that would be kind of the worst way to lose it. Although I think it's probably more likely that Man City draw both games to Wolves and who are they playing again? Sorry,
West
my
Ham.
mind's completely gone. West Ham. There we go. Yeah. I think it's more chance they draw both games to them rather than lose a game, to be honest. But who knows what's happened? All we can do is what's in our hands, and we've won another game against Villa, and 2 games left of the season, 2 cup finals. That is still very promising, in a chance to win all 3 competitions. So look, there's no reason to be negative, really.
Yeah. Arnov, back on again. How you doing? Enjoy the game?
Yeah, I'm all right. I was nervy, especially when Alisson made that mistake. I don't know what he was doing, but yeah, as the lads have said, we got through it. It was a tough game, but it would have been good to close the gap. The goal difference is +3, so I think it's the City, so it's going to be tough to close it, but you never know. And Molyneux tomorrow, I reckon it's a tough game. I won't write it off, especially at night as well. It'll be a tough game against them.
Yeah, well, one of the main sort of talking points was Fabinho. I do think for the time he was on the pitch, Louis, he had an absolute nightmare and was lucky not to be booked. He then pulled up with an injury. Who knows if that was just him wanting to get off the pitch or if he's genuinely hurt. We know Liverpool don't take any risk with not even just like a hurt hamstring, they're instantly off. So, it was we'll go on more about the Chelsea game and how that injury could impact it. But I think Jordan Henderson came on and bossed the midfield, didn't he? We've been very critical of him on this channel, certain people. But I think in that number 6 position, it does look like his best position, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't think he can play. I don't think he should play in the number 8s over anybody else that we've got there currently. And that includes Keita, although a lot of people think he's had a few bad performances. But yeah, at the moment, he's the closest thing we've got to a Fabinho backup, essentially. And I've kind of changed my tune on Henderson. I was incredibly supportive of him early on in the season. But then I felt like when that came at the cost of being overly critical on Keita, I kind of changed my mind a little bit. And I feel like Henderson does get let off the hook sometimes because people are becoming quite anti-Keita, which I feel is a little bit unfair. But no, the last few times he's come on, he's, you can't deny the way that the possession swung back into our favour. Maybe it was coincidence, but he's certainly, when we need him, bringing that captain energy that maybe he was lacking earlier on in the season. He's got a little bit of swagger back. I don't know if you'd even call it that, but he looks a little bit more like himself. And I don't know what that is, whether it's the big moments, it's, being at the crucial point of a season, he's just really brought his A game back. But maybe it's his new role of being slightly more on the sidelines, him and Kate are constantly swapping over. Maybe that's helping to, the way that it did with Gerrard in his final few years, not comparing the two. But saving his legs for more specific moments maybe just helps him to keep fresh and rejuvenated.
Yeah, Owen, we know your love for the English players in the squad. Was you impressed with Henderson today?
Yeah, I thought it was absolutely superb. Even though Fabinho, he had a very bad game, as you said before, just before he came off. Like, it kind of was a blessing in disguise, even though obviously we hope it's not a serious injury and it was only precautionary. But hopefully, fingers crossed, he'll be back for Saturday. If not, then the Champions League final. But yeah, Hendo came in. He's had a lot of stick. Can't get that wrong. But yeah, he's the captain of the team. And whenever he comes in, you see that the leadership he brings in midfield, which sometimes we do lack when kind of Henderson, Milner are out the team. It's very, very important. Kind of keeps the pressing as well. Kind of keeps that motivation there, and that works all around the team. So yeah, absolutely fantastic today.
Yeah, Arnov, how much of a worry is that Fabinho injury? It seems like Klopp he's going to play Henderson anyway, regardless. In the FA Cup final, it seems like he was resting Thiago and Henderson for that game. But do you think it makes a difference if Fabinho is injured and out of that game?
No, yeah, definitely. I think Fabinho's he's up there with one of our best players, like definitely, especially contributions this season. I was proper worried when he went off. He was having a tough time today though. But yeah, I think he's played a lot as well this season. So it is and he looked like he was pulling up with his hamstring. So if it is a precaution, we took him off, but we had to, I think. But if we do miss him for Saturday, I think it'll be a big miss. But yeah, even going forward as well, I think especially in the Champions League, in the final, he'd play such a big part because he'd definitely start, and thus I think it'd be a massive, massive loss if he was to be out, especially for a few weeks, even in the league as well. So I just hope he's all right.
Yeah, one person who was completely rested today was Andy Robertson-Louis. Tsimikas, a bit of a shaky start defensively.
Yeah.
Could argue that he was a fault for the goal, but I think after when Henderson come on, he really settled down, and we saw what he can offer, especially going forward. He looks to have got a decent relationship with Louis Diaz already. Were you impressed with him? And there's been calls to maybe give Tsimikas more game time this season with how Robertson's been performing sometimes.
On this occasion, I wasn't actually that impressed with him. I don't know whether I just missed it a little bit, but yeah, certainly at the start, shaky very defensively. But I thought his crossing all game
was poor.
Was poor, very, very poor. When other times this season, he's come into the team and seamlessly kind of blended and stood out at times as well with that crossing. And often we've said like, well, at times he's crossing better than Andy Robertson, which is one of his like biggest traits as well. So I was quite surprised by how poor he was today. Maybe that's just by like the small sample size of games he's had and the performances he's put in those, combined with just the whole team not playing at their best. So maybe that made it more difficult for him. But in the grand scheme of things, Andy Robertson's still miles clear, at least in Klopp's mind. And I don't think today would have done Kostas any favours.
Yeah. And another player who I think was up there for one of the best players on the pitch again was Luis Diaz. Week in, week out, he on the right, on the left, he's always open for the ball. He's always running at players. At the moment, he is probably the most undroppable player in this, especially in the Liverpool forward line. How impressed were you with him today? An assist for Mane's goal and a really good delivery at that.
Yes, becoming quite an occurrence right now. Luis Diaz playing well, like every single game. I'm running out of words. It's like when Salah joined, and every single game he was just absolutely firing, even if he wasn't scoring, contributing to the team superbly. And yeah, as you say, he's undroppable right now. Arguably one of the best players in the world. Well, arguably probably the best player in the world, maybe. And yeah, but right now, even though you've got Salah, Mane, Jota, and Firmino, I think he's been forgotten about. Champions League final comes up, and yeah, he's going to be first name on the team sheet.
Yeah, Arnov, he has to start the FA Cup final against Chelsea, doesn't he? Especially off this performance.
No, yeah, definitely. Like I was saying, he's played amazing every single game he's played. And I think that even that ball into Mane was a brilliant finish, nonetheless. A very tough finish as well. But yeah, he played well, getting at defenders all the time. It's like a breath of fresh air since he came in January. He's like rejuvenated the whole squad. And he's a big reason why we're in the position we're in. So I think, definitely he's got to start on Saturday. And even against Real, I think him, Salah, Mane should be the attack.
Yeah, Louis, talking about the whole front three, Diaz, and Mane and Jota as well. I mean, what were your overall thoughts on all of them? I think Jota again had a very poor game. He's just not looking like the player he was at the beginning of the season, was he?
Yeah, he's struggling to stand out. I think Luis Diaz's signing hasn't helped him much. He's not able to get that rhythm because Luis Diaz has just been so good. He is undroppable at times, and Mane and Salah are always above him in the hierarchy anyway. I mean, I'll give him props for the pass before that goal, putting Diaz through, I believe. I think that was Jota kind of playing that ball over the top, which was brilliant. But yeah, it's kind of become the story of his season. It's, he can grab a goal from somewhere, but most games, 80%, 90% of the time, he's ghosting it a little bit, not creating too much. He never really got to grips with that false nine role, couldn't make it his own like Mane's managed to do and like Firmino obviously did. I think maybe he's just struggling to find his place in this squad at the moment. And I think maybe a break, coming back strong next season might be the best thing for him. I think if he can still contribute with a few goals in the last few games, then brilliant. But if he's not getting goals for us, he's pretty much useless at this point, with how he's been playing. Unlike Diaz, who's not necessarily getting those goals and assists all the time, but he just offers so much in terms of an out ball, in terms of dragging us up the pitch when we're under pressure, in terms of winning free kicks. Jota's just really lacking that kind of identity in his style of play at the moment. I feel bad for him because he was like our shiny new plaything last year and the beginning of this season as well. Adding goals to his game, but yeah, with Luis Diaz coming in, it's almost halted him a little bit. But I understand he was ghosting games still before we brought in Luis Diaz as well. So I think we just kind of need to write it off and just start again next season and see what he can do.
Yeah, definitely. Hello to everybody joining as well. If you are just joining the stream, make sure you leave a like on the video. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. But Owen, another player who there was a lot of calls for him to be dropped, Mohamed Salah. He was dropped by Jurgen Klopp today, possibly in, looking ahead to the FA Cup final. But, off the back of his performances, I think he deserved to be dropped, even if there wasn't an FA Cup final around the corner. He come on today and he did the exact same thing that he has been doing, hasn't he? Trying to force things, not looking up and just trying to dribble past a million players. When's he going to realise that it's just not working for him? He needs, we saw it. I know it was disallowed, but Luis Diaz's pass to Mane, when he was one-on-one with the goalkeeper, I've never seen Salah do anything like that or even think about doing anything like that. If he wasn't Mohamed Salah, you probably bench him and don't bring him into the side, don't you?
Yeah, you probably do. I think he needs to go back to basics, really. It's understandable after the season he's had. Don't get me wrong. He's had a hard time, but he's still top goal scorer in the Premier League, top assist in the Premier League, so you expect a lot better. And if he's going to be player of the season or even Liverpool player of the season, he needs to step up now. This is the crucial part of the season, as we've said unlimited times now, that the trophies are won now. And yeah, unfortunately, if Mohamed Salah doesn't kind of find that form and kind of think, right, I need to get my act together and kind of not just get back to basics, actually kind of contribute to the team, really, then yeah, he's going to be out the team.
Yeah, Arnov, I think I've got my stats right, but I think Mohamed Salah now has 2 non-penalty goals in his last 18 games for Liverpool. It's a worrying sight, isn't it? What we're seeing, he's had them 30 goals and 15 assists now for what it seems like an absolute eternity, and he just, it's hard to see. He just doesn't look like scoring, does he?
No, definitely. I think the same, but yeah, as you mentioned, the 30 goals and 15 assists. I think even those stats are insane. And like, yeah, he's had a purple patch recently, but I think we mentioned it as well in the preview for the Champions League. I think it's the AFCON and the World Cup qualifiers have done him, especially those 120 minutes. I think it was 3 or 4 times, and he had a tough time getting over that. And to be honest, if I was Jurgen today, I wouldn't even play him today. I would just let him have a complete rest, and then had him fit and fire him for Saturday, because I think he just needs a couple goals, and then he'll be fit and firing again. But it'll be brilliant if he can score a couple going into the Champions League final. But I hope he can just get one on Saturday, because he's lethal, like he's shown. But yeah, he's having a tough time at the moment. But yeah, on Saturday he should be fit and firing, hopefully.
Yeah. Louis, if it's such a hard predicament, isn't it? Because if let's say Diogo Jota was showing this form that he's in now, or Roberto Firmino, it wouldn't even be a question. And I do understand where people are coming from with the but before AFCON he was amazing. But football, unfortunately, for the players, isn't based on past performances. It is like form wise anyway. Like, he's just not producing. He's been given chance and chance and chance and chance and chance again since he's returned from AFCON. Other players, Sadio Mane, I know he won both of the games, and mentally that's probably a lot better for him. But, people are saying he needs a rest. Sadio Mane hasn't had a rest, and he's, the last few games, he's been one of our key players. Why is this sort of... let's have Salah. Salah needs a rest, but not Mane. Like, it seems to be like two sides of a coin almost for him and Mane.
Yeah. And obviously those two went head to head in 2 massive international fixtures, and Mane came out on top both times. So confidence may be a big part there, but you always get the feeling that these elite level players just kind of believe in themselves no matter what. So I don't know how much you can attribute it to that. Part of it's got to go down to the law of averages as well. It's the same as how like Paul Pogba got 3, 4, 5 assists in the first 2 games. Like that's incredible. But then did he get 1 or 2 after that for the rest of the season? So Salah obviously raced in front of everybody, getting 23 goals in like the first half of the season essentially. It's always going to catch up to you at some point, but at the same time, it's hard to look at that from game to game and put it all down to that. So I get the criticism in terms of why Salah gets let off a little bit more than Mane. Is that kind of your question?
Yeah, cause I mean, like, look, for me, it's very much, if you want to be the best player in the world, like he's come out and said multiple times, like his goal is to be the best player in the world. I don't like the interviews he's been given recently either, saying, "Oh, I want Real Madrid, I want this." Like, he comes across very cocky, and I don't think you can be that when you're in the form that he's in. You look at some of the best players in the world, like Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, Lewandowski. They're not coming up to this part of the season, the last 2-3 months, and they're not doing what Salah's doing now. They're not dropping 2 non-penalty goals in 17 games. Like, yes, he's got a few assists as well, but just in general, since he's returned from AFCON, I can probably maybe pick out 3 games where he's genuinely been good and actually contributed. Not even without a goal or an assist, he's looked good, and I just think that more criticism needs to be. I know we're all about supporting the players and stuff, but I think you can be critical and still support the players. Like, I don't like the whole you can't criticize players. I do think at the end of the day, we're a fan channel. We're here to give our opinions. Like, I don't like that you can't be critical to Salah, but that's just my main gripe with it. Yeah. And well, yeah.
Don't you guys think? I think the Ballon d'Or playing on his mind as well. And after losing against Senegal and in both times, I reckon that was a massive thing for him. Like, and like a few of the assists he's got since he hasn't scored, I think they've been really good as well. Like, they won against City for Mane, and a couple more that he's done, and I thought, wow, like he's looked really good. But yeah, of course, the goals have dried up a bit. But don't you guys think his assists have been doing decent recently, or?
I mean, I get your point, Charlie, because I feel like I am making excuses for him. I guess because Ronaldo's still scoring. I mean, Messi's not doing that well. Lewandowski's still scoring, but out on the right wing, his numbers at that first part of the season are phenomenal. Like, they're better than any of the strikers in the league, in most leagues. So you get the feeling that he is being marked out of games a bit more. I don't feel like he's getting as much support down our right-hand side as he was. I feel like, and this was especially evident against Tottenham, because it was one of the big reasons why we didn't create as much. Trent is playing so inverted now, and hardly any of his crosses are coming from the byline. There's no reverse pass, like 1-2s with Salah getting Trent in behind and then whipping across. Most of his crosses are now in that half space where Jordan Henderson likes to cross it from. It's cutting in. And so Salah's just kind of being left there on the right-hand side. And, everyone's much more aware of him. And he's just not getting that support.
Do you not think that's down to the form he's been doing, though? Like, maybe we haven't been cutting it back because we have been cutting it back and he just hasn't been producing what he usually does. Like, I agree with you. We haven't seen as many, like, his classic curl into the shot, like top left corner. But when was the last time he scored one of them? Like, he's had chances and we've seen him go close with them. I think he went close.
Sorry, I meant like Trent's crossing. Sorry, just the way that those, because it was always him, Elliott, and Salah, or him or Trent, Henderson, and Salah working as a real triangle down that right-hand side. And so when you've got three players constantly rotating positions, interlinking, like, it freed Salah up so much, and you'd see him more inverted. You'd see him bolt right out, holding the width, doing all these different things. Whereas just now it seems like Trent's a bit more rigid, coming into more central areas, and Salah's more being left to his own devices out on the right. And I'm sure that there's some sort of tactical advantage that we're hoping to gain from that. But in terms of Salah's own game, I just feel like it's leaving him exposed in terms of he hasn't got that fluidity necessarily. Because we always see the other two. We always see, like, if it's Diaz or Mane, Diaz, Firmino, Diaz, Jota, they always change positions quite frequently throughout the game. But it's always Salah on that right-hand side. And I feel like I'm just making excuses, and ultimately, of course, you can criticize him, and I think he probably does deserve it. There's always, like, interlocking factors, I feel like.
That's a great point as well, because normally you see Salah kind of going central as well, kind of making the runs in behind, well, you haven't really been seeing that. And also, like, he's just become very predictable now. Defenders kind of know what they're going to get from him. Salah's going to cut in inside and bang. And Ben Davies, you saw kind of the clip the other night where he knew what he's going to do. Going back maybe a year ago, that wouldn't have been the case. So I think that's probably part of it as well.
And that's partially down to Salah as well. Like, he's got to adapt to this kind of thing. Like, that's what's kept Messi at the top. That's what's kept Ronaldo at the top, is they're constantly evolving the way that they play. So that it's still on him ultimately. But just before we completely rip him a new arsehole kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think we can talk on this, for ages, but at the end of the day, he's not scoring enough goals. As I think everyone can agree on that. I think that it boils down to that point. He's not scoring enough goals, and no matter how you justify it or don't, Liverpool need goals, and he's not providing that at the moment. But going back to the game, a 2-1 victory, only +1 goal difference. Is this a missed opportunity, Louis? We saw City blast 5 past Newcastle. We only put 1 past them. They've got Aston Villa on the last day of the season. I'm not really holding much hope for them with that performance beating Man City. It seems like a missed chance that we haven't maybe played a strong team and tried to put 3 or 4 past them, isn't it?
I would have said that if we were playing anybody else but Southampton in our next game. It's Southampton next, isn't it? And they've kind of become the battering boys in this league. They've got sod all to play for. Their minds are going to be on their all-inclusives in the summer. we need to. Salah needs to get his game together. Most of our players need to get their act together. Hopefully, we're coming off of a high from winning an FA Cup on Saturday. We need to blast them for everything that they're worth, and claw back that goal difference, because Wolves is going to be tough as well on the final day of the season. Hopefully, they can do us a favour tomorrow. But no, for me, Southampton is the big place to do it, and ultimately, Man City have to lose a game for me, so that will impact their goal difference as well. So it's all clutching at straws at this point, but that's in terms of goal difference, that's what I think it could come down to.
Yeah. Oh, and I know you said that you can see them drawing 2 games instead of losing, but we need them to lose at some point. If they draw once and win both of the games, it's not good enough. If they lose, it's going to go down to goal difference. Southampton have a 9-0 in them, and I think that's going to be huge, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think we can get too ahead of ourselves. I think we saw back in 2014 with the Crystal Palace game, it was 3-0, 3-3. We don't want to kind of go into it thinking, oh, yes, get all the goals we can. We need to just make sure we win the game, do what we can. And as much as basic that sounds and kind of people won't really like it, that's kind of the first job you have to make sure. Yeah, it'd be great if we could score 9. Of course it would be, but I think that's kind of somewhat unrealistic.
Arnov, do you think it is going to go down to goal difference, or can you see maybe City losing 2 or drawing 2, as Owen said?
I think it does depend on how they play tomorrow, because I think traveling up to Wolves for a night game has never been easy for many teams, and they can put a performance on. But I think it's tomorrow and West Ham away that'll be where City can stumble, because I think the last game at Villa at the Etihad, I don't see him slipping up in that. As much as a fairy tale it'd be, I don't see him slipping up in that anyway. But yeah, I think Southampton's had best chance to get the goals we need. And yeah, and I think today as well, I don't think we talked about Curtis Jones. I thought he was quite disappointing. I expected a bit more from him today. But yeah, I mean, hopefully he can step up if he's going to play again and again this season. But yeah, I think it will be West Ham or Wolves away. That's going to be tough for them.
Yeah, you know what? We'll touch on Curtis Jones really quick, because I think it's probably going to split some opinions. But if you're new, please do leave a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a bunch. But Louis, in our group chat, it seemed to be a lot of 50-50 with Curtis Jones. It seemed like a lot of people were happy with his performance, but some people were sort of expecting more. I mean, I'm on the sides of it was just an average game. I don't think any of our midfielders, apart from Jordan Henderson, played particularly too well. But what were your thoughts on Jones's performance?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm maybe on the same side as Matt, in that maybe some of us just aren't quite sure what to expect from Curtis Jones. Maybe some of us in our head had the idea of a player with a lot of flair, someone who could maybe beat a man. That goal against Everton a few years ago, terrific finish, and what we knew about him from the youth setup. But others seem to believe that he's more of a player that kind of keeps things ticking over in possession. And that's kind of what we do see when he does play. But he's coming from the cold. Like, how many in the last few months, how many match day squads was he not even in, along with a few others as well, to then suddenly come into this game that I know it's against Aston Villa, but we still had to bloody win it to maintain any hope of a title. To come in from the cold, I think he did as best as he could do, really, with everybody else dropping clangers left, right and centre. I don't think he's someone that particularly needs to be targeted. I think people were worse than him, people who've played more regularly. For him to come out from the cold and do what he did, I think he looked okay, as you said, very average, nothing to get excited about. But what can you ask from someone who's played such little football?
Yeah, I think he held possession better than most of our midfielders in that game. Definitely Owen can say that Naby Keita was worse than him, but it wasn't a magnificent. I can't say that word. I'm not even going to attempt it, man. My brain's too fried. It wasn't an amazing performance by him, but it by far wasn't his worst performance, was it?
No, it's a strange one with Curtis. It's like whenever I kind of see him now, it's kind of come away feeling underwhelmed, kind of wanting more. Even though you can kind of see him do it sometimes, run with the ball and kind of go get that shot away, play the 1-2. He does it, and when he does it really well, to be fair. I just want to see him have a bit more confidence, and you don't know what Klopp's told him to do, so you can't be too harsh on him saying, oh, he's not doing this, not doing that. But he's kind of playing in sort of a Henderson role when you kind of feel like he has that ability and potential to kind of go that one step further, especially offensively. So, yeah, it's strange. I think only time will tell with him, even though I still do think a loan move would do him wonders in the Premier League, kind of a mid to lower table sides. But yeah, we've talked about that a lot in the past. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what Arnov, I'll bring you in on that debate because we've seen a lot of we're sort of 50-50 with this. It's a lot of people want him to go on loan, but a lot of people don't. And we've sort of titled it the Foden versus Gallagher debate. Do you let him just stay in the squad for like 2-3 years and what Pep Guardiola did with Fulham and let him develop under your coaching and maybe you can become a world-class player, or do you send him on loan like Chelsea did with Crystal Palace? Yeah. So it's, there's two stories there that have worked out well for both of them. It's just, what do you do with Curtis Jones?
I think it's a tough one, that, because obviously Gallagher's shown he spread his wings at Palace, but I think with Curtis it would be good if he stays, because I couldn't really see a team that he'd go to as dominant as us. But I also think if it went to a team like Palace with a lot of flair going forward, we would see more offensively. But I think, like Owen touched on it, what Klopp's telling him, I reckon he is telling him to mellow down a bit more. That's what it seems from his performances compared to like seasons gone by. So I think him staying and developing off Thiago potentially, I think that could be good. But it would all depend where he went on loan. Like, if he went on loan to a relegation threatened team, it wouldn't be good. But if he went on loan to like a Palace or a team like that with some good attacking flair and a team that like to play football, then I think we get the best out of Curtis Jones. But yeah, for now I'd say he should stay. He should stay.
Yeah, I think my sort of view on it is we've got two players there who could do this, both with Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones. I think I'd prefer to see Jones on loan and Harvey Elliott given the Guardiola treatment. But you mentioned a couple of teams there. I think Brighton would be a great team for Curtis Jones. I think Palace and Aston Villa will probably be my other two choices. I think Palace as well would be looking for somebody with Gallagher most likely returning on loan. But we want an open-minded manager, and they're three young managers who are going to try and play modern, expansive football. We don't want to be sending them to Fulham. And Marco Silva's a decent manager. I just don't think he has the squad and abilities to advance Curtis Jones's career. But finishing off the stream, I'll go around everyone. Man of the matches and why. Louis.
I think you have to give it to Luis Diaz again. I think, again, a bright spark in a otherwise pretty tame, disappointing performance. I think ultimately the back four did improve. I think Van Dijk had a good game after the goal. But the whole back four were culpable for that first goal, so I can't give it to any of them. I think Luis Diaz again for me.
Yeah, Sadio Mane got the Sky Sports 1-0. Do you agree with them, or are you going to go somewhere else?
Yeah, I do actually. I think Mane was probably man of the match today, even though kind of in the past he hasn't been at his best. I think today we have to appreciate and say, yeah, he had a really good game. And yeah, even though Luis Diaz was phenomenal again and John Henson had a great game, I think you have to give it to Mane.
Yeah, and Arnov, before we go on to yours, if you are new, please do leave a like on the video. Also, subscribe to the channel for future content. For some reason, there's 40 people in here and we're about to end, so great timing. But Arnov, I'll go on to your selection.
Yeah, definitely Sadio Mane. I think his header was such a good goal. I think the cross was good. It was a good assist from Diaz, but to score that was insane. Like, to get it on target, drag it into the bottom right corner. I think defo Sadio got the goal when we needed it most.
Yeah, I'm gonna give some love to the captain. I think he calmed the game down a lot, and maybe he wasn't as flashy as Diaz or Mane, but I think he come on and controlled the game, something that Fabinho wasn't doing uncharacteristically in the first 25 minutes. So Jordan Henderson, I'll be on your side once and once only. So that's all the Jordan Henderson love you're getting from me until he retires. Now I'll say well done. But everybody who's joined, apologies for the 40 people who have randomly come in the last 2 minutes. If you are new, we publish content every day on the channel, so make sure you are subscribed with the bell notification on. We're going to be doing a lot of match day coverage for the upcoming final of the FA Cup's final against Chelsea. A few things we're going to be trying out, maybe player ratings, maybe combined XI, stuff like that. So make sure you subscribe. Go and check out everybody on Twitter, Louis, Arnov, Owen. And yeah, thank you everybody